Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fearless and Undefined. And on today's episode of Super Queens, I have a very special guest who's ready to tell her story of overcoming and how important mental health is in the pageantry world, in her world, and everyone else's, and what words of affirmation have actually done to help save her and be able to tell her story and her family's and friends' story as well. And I'm so excited for all of you to meet her. So let's go see if she's ready. Well, hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. Why don't you tell us all just a little bit about yourself?
Hey y'all, my name is Kenni, y'all. I'm your Miss Lone Star Collegiate, and I am a huge mental health advocate.
Well, I am so glad that we get to talk to you today and dive a little bit deeper into your story. So, I know you have a platform of I Am Strong. I want to know where did that start? Why did it start?
So, my family, we have a lot of mental health diagnoses. My grandma was bipolar. I'd seen my cousins go in and out of mental hospitals. And so it's kind of second nature to me. My brother has severe anxiety. And so it's something that I've always kind of been around. And I never realized that it was something that was so big whenever I experienced it outside of my own personal family. And so in the eighth grade, I actually lost my grandma, my great grandma, and my pageant director in the span of 2 months. And that was really, really hard for me to navigate. And I always felt like the people who were helping me just kind of had to help me because it was their job. And I realized there's so many other kids my age having these exact same struggles. They just don't have anyone advocating for them. And so I created the I Am Strong platform, and I get to travel around elementary schools and daycares and middle schools and summer camps all around Texas and teach about words of affirmation because I'm such a big believer that our youth has so much impact that we don't even know. And if they have these tools early on at a start, then they're going to use them so much more whenever they're older.
I love that. It's very important to be able to see that side of things. So, when it comes to pageantry, how has mental health affected your life in that aspect?
Well, I started pageants when I was 4 years old. My mom always told me, we're using your sass for good and not evil. And so for the longest time, it was just something that was so fun for me. And then I think in my past months of competing, I really took it personal. I was the runner up all the time. I never really had my spotlight moment. I never had the confetti coming down in my face. And so I took that as such a negative and not as a positive. And I just remember crying and thinking, I'm never going to do pageants ever again after I competed in September. And I just remember thinking, I'm never going to be good enough for these judges and they're never going to see me and I'm ready. And I would cry in my interviews and tell them, like, I'm ready, please choose me. And it was just never my time. And so I think in that aspect, I kind of took it and I let it overtake who I was, knowing that even without a crown and banner, I'm so much more than that. But unfortunately, for those months, I did not view it as that.
Yeah, I get that. I've definitely been there as like the runner up multiple times, and it's hard to keep faith, when you see all of your friends having their moments and enjoying it, and you're just wondering, like, I'm ready. When will it be? And I've always believed, God's got a plan for each and every one of us for when it'll be our time. And sometimes the waiting game is not fun, but there's
Yes.
definitely those moments where you look back and you be like, okay, this is why that happened. Like, the first time I got back into pageantry, I was 18, and I remember thinking, like, I could walk in and win this, it'll be awesome. And I didn't. And, looking back at it, I was like, this happened for a reason because I got really sick that year. And so I was like,
Mhm.
this happened for a reason. God knew that it wasn't my time. And, being able
Mhm.
to look back and see those things and see, okay, this is why. I feel like for me that helps. But even in the runner up situations, you're like, okay, now what can I do to get better? I can do better. I know I can be better. And one day there will always be that set of judges that will look at you and be like, man, this is it. This is her. And that's always a great feeling when you get that crown, when you understand and know why it finally happened. It's
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that was my biggest thing coming into high school America this year, because it was my third year. And I was so scared. I was like, I'm in the collegiate division. I am literally a baby. I'm only 17 years old. I'm a senior in high school. So I kind of went in with the mindset to just have fun. And that was never my mindset. My mindset was get the title, go and serve it, and then do your best at nationals. And like I said, in those months that I was waiting, I just learned so much about preparing yourself and using your waiting season as preparation. And I was like, just have fun. I don't have anything to lose. And I was shocked whenever I got second runner up. I didn't even think I was going to make top 8. And so I was like, well, you know what, Kenny, like, just put a smile on your face because I say it all on my face. And when I got second runner up, I was so satisfied. And then I got called as Lone Star. And I don't even think I was there whenever I got called, because it was just that moment of relief that everything had finally paid off.
I think seeing your face when you got called for Lone Star was the best feeling. You know, I was so proud of you all weekend because I've gotten to work with you in the past and see how great you are. And it felt weird for me because I'm like, oh my God, she's old enough to compete against me. This is weird.
I know everyone all week was like, you're in the collegiate division. And I let it scare me. I was like, yeah, I am.
No,
So
never
see
let
what
it scare
happens.
you. Just go in, you know, head first, dive into it, and usually good things come out of that. And a great
Yeah.
thing did come out of it for you, and I can't wait to see how you do at nationals. I know you'll do well. Okay,
Thank you.
so moving forward, do you ever have those doubtful moments to this day now that I know you said you used the past couple of months to, you know, prepare yourself and get ready, but do you still every so often have those like moments of, am I really good enough for this?
In those past 4 months, that's all I could think of. And I fell into a really, really deep depression. And I mean, I wouldn't get out of bed. I would lay in my bed for 7 hours a day. Getting up was the biggest challenge for me. Like, genuinely washing my face was the biggest challenge. And a lot of that came from the losses that I had. And I just took it so personal. And I remember not eating. I would maybe eat one thing a day. And I lost about like 5 pounds, 10 pounds. And I just always remember thinking, why am I not good enough? Why is everybody else getting called when I'm working just as hard as them and it's not me? And so my mom finally took me to doctors. And I think that was the scariest thing, because vulnerability can be looked at as such a negative when it's such a positive. And we never know how much our story impacts others. And I remember going in and talking to the doctors, and I was like, I just don't want to be so tired anymore. I'm so done of being tired. And I got on medication and antidepressants and everything. And now I'm doing fine. I wish that I had those doubts, but to be completely real and honest, my medication makes me feel nothing. So it just makes me feel like chill all the time. And whenever I get like anxious in my head, it's genuinely like I can't even form a thought. So
Well, I'm glad that it's not there. Like, I definitely feel like, you know, those tired moments, I've had those, and you just want to lay there all day. But then, like, when you get up and start moving and things start, you move all of those nasty thoughts away from your brain and focus on the positives. That's like when it really just starts to sparkle and shine. And you definitely shined at High School America. I was so proud of you. So this is going to be a fun question for me, really. I want to know this. How did you come up with Positive Mindset Mondays?
So I am a big believer in words of affirmation, and it's something that I really leaned on. And every pageant girl has her own jingle. And so I was like, mine is going to be Positive Mindset Mondays. You start off your week on Monday, and it's going to push you towards the week to keep a positive mindset. And I'm sharing my own personal testimony, which has been a huge thing right now on Positive Mindset Monday. And I share statistics about mental health and the numbers and, you know, the real raw things behind mental health. And I'm also sharing tips and tricks and, you know, push yourself to get outside. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. And so that's something that I look forward to posting every week. And because it just starts your week off right. And I hope that it really impacts people as much as it impacts me.
Oh, I definitely feel the impact. You know, Mondays for me are always like such a drag, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. It's Monday. And then I'll be scrolling randomly and I'll see, I'm like, okay, I'll be good. I'll be fine. Where do you come up with them? Like, is there like a book that you come up, or is it just like coming into your brain? Do you just like think it and feel it?
As I said, I have experienced this firsthand, not only from my family members, but from my own. And, a lot of my family members have been to therapy. So I think a lot of it is just, like family testimonies that I'm turning into something that's relatable. But I try to do as much research on it as well because I want to give the facts out there because that's what's really going to impact us is knowing what's truly mental health is.
I love that. Okay, so here's the biggest question. What do you have to say to any of the girls, younger, older, who are in pageantry that could be potentially struggling with mental health and, maybe just not showing it as much?
You're enough. I wish whenever I was in, that dark stage, someone would have told me that because it was me standing in the mirror asking why I wasn't good enough. It was me looking at my stomach in the mirror asking why I wasn't skinny enough. And I think a big part of that is I wish I had somebody speaking into me because your runner ups is not the end of your story. You pushing, striving to be better is not the end of your story. The winning isn't even the end of your story. And you're so much more than that. And you're more than enough.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. I'm so excited to see how you do at nationals and even beyond that, whether you end up as Miss Collegiate America or you stay Miss Lone Star. I know that you are going to do a great job being a title holder, period. And I can't wait to see what all you have in store.
Thank you.